going to a musical tomorrow night.
Which is, it is Valentine's Day, Dave.
Yes. You're not going to go bowling on Valentine's Day. So anyway, but then I realized maybe that is an accurate description of me.
Because of the Beach Boys?
I like Beach Boys.
You and millions of other people.
I go dancing and I'm going to a musical.
I find nothing wrong with any of those things.
I didn't say there was. If I thought there was something wrong with it, I wouldn't bring it up. I'm just saying that may be an apt description of it. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
Okay, with that as mere prelude, let's get to our top story.
The big lead, top story.
Hey, look who's here! We've got an old friend here joining the show. So, this weekend I saw a fantastic story from our old friend Susanna Frame over at King 5 about Sound Transit and what they're doing to this neighborhood in Bellevue. And Susanna Frame joins us here on Cairo Radio. Hey, Susanna.
Hey, Dory. It's my comeback interview.
It is.
I've been on the station for so long.
I know. Well, I texted Susanna like at 11 o'clock Saturday night, because that's when I watched your story. And I said how good it was. And you're gracious enough and kind enough to come on and tell me all about it here.
And how quickly did I text you back?
I know. That was kind of weird, actually. 11
a few
o'clock.
seconds.
11 o'clock on a Saturday night.
It was almost creepy.
Yeah. Yeah, I fully expected there would be a Sunday morning reply, not an immediate Saturday reply like that.
No.
Okay.
No, you're on a pedestal.
Oh, bless you. So, and how about we pulled up the old Susanna theme song there, too?
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
Please do it.
Okay. Well, we did. You were talking to Nicole.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
I couldn't hear. Okay.
Here, we play it
Thank
again.
you for doing that.
You still have it pressed so Susanna can hear it? Hold on. It's coming. I don't want to start the story without you hearing your theme song.
All right, thank you.
I know how it inspires and fires you up.
It does.
Just like Aerosmith fires up Dave Wyman when he's running down the field on a kickoff. There we go. All right, are you sufficiently fired up?
Now I'm ready.
Okay, all right. Okay,
Yep.
so tell
Give me a call.
my listeners about this neighborhood in Bellevue that Sound Transit is running roughshod over.
Okay, so of course we all know Sound Transit is expanding.
Yes.
They're right in the middle of construction to bring the line from Seattle to Bellevue. And guess what? That's going to happen. We voted for it. It's going to happen. Everyone knows that's not the issue.
Not if I have anything to say about it, Susanna.
Okay. In general, the construction has started, and there's really not a big chance it's going to stop.
Right.
Okay?
But you know what,
That's
though?
not the issue.
Would you please not laugh so hard at my self-delusional power?
Okay, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
I'm sorry. Okay. This neighborhood, they're not saying they're anti-rail, and maybe you think they should, but they're not saying that. What they're saying is, hey, Sound Transit, you're bringing 7 years of construction to our backyards.
Right.
Some people inches away, some people a few blocks away. Then, all of a sudden, we will have a train whipping by every 7 minutes. That might be great for some places, but this particular neighborhood, since 1952,
Right.
has had legally binding protective covenants that say you have to use the parcels for residential use only. And I don't know, I don't think a train whipping by would be considered a residential use.
And
or a train station.
This neighborhood is called Surrey Downs.
Yes.
And let me play a couple of cuts from your story on King 5. You talked with a resident named Gail.
If the noise is particularly obnoxious, I'll note it in here. Banging, clanking, screeching, digging, dumping tons of gravel and dirt. And have all been terrible. They don't think that 7 years of construction is any big deal.
Okay, so obviously I can understand why they'd be upset, but at least Sound Transit Susanna has offered to pay them for all of their trouble, right?
Right. They're offering to pay them because by law, in our Washington State Constitution, no joke, it says residents must be offered a just compensation if we're taking your property or running all over your property rights. And remember, since 1952, they've had a right to have a peaceful neighborhood without commerce. And it goes on to say you're not supposed to have any loud noises or dust or basically construction.
Sure. So for
Sound Transit had to offer them something.
So for 7 years of noise and dust and rumbling, how much is Sound Transit offering these neighbors?
$300.
300 million?
$300 per household.
$300. That's it. Okay, Susanna talked with a lawyer for the homeowners about that offer.
I've never heard of an offer of $300 ever. It's completely ridiculous.
And Dick Applestone is another one of the residents there.
I thought the $300 was a slap in the face. If you look at the price of these homes, it's peanuts. It's an insult is what it is.
So, $300. How did they arrive at that figure?
Well, to be honest, they had an appraiser not appraise every single home, but go out and look around and do a general appraisal. And their appraiser actually said that there was no downside to their properties and said there was a $0 figure that they should really pay. But Sound Transit said, just to be nice, we're going to offer you $300.
I like your Sound Transit voice. That is exactly how Sound Transit should sound.
In the meantime, the homeowners that could afford to go out and get their own appraiser to look at their property value now and what it would be afterward, many of them, it was $10,000 loss because they're thinking, what if I sell my home now? People won't want to potentially come into a construction-ridden area and wouldn't want to be right by a train, and so, hey, I'm not going to pay you as much. So that's where the rub is. And I have to admit, there have been people online, this story's got a lot of traction on our different platforms, who are saying, oh, those Bellevue crybabies, oh, they're elitists, blah, 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 this is progress. And I can see where people are coming from. But it's called just compensation, and it is afforded these people by law.
Well, yeah,
that's the point.
Yes, and I'd be surprised if their downside was only $10,000, but yeah, the $300. So here's a Sound Transit spokesperson that Susanna talked to.
Well, we appreciate that this is difficult for folks living in Bellevue and across our region as we expand our system, in all directions, really.
And she said that, so now the neighbors, they're getting together and suing Sound Transit, is that right?
No? This is the deal. Sound Transit is suing them. Sound Transit is suing them, and this is part of the story, Dory, that I pointed out because it was really upsetting to the neighbors. Starting in 2015, they began getting letter after letter saying, and I'm just going to condense it, hey, we're bringing light rail through your neighborhood, and we need to offer you just compensation. Take the $300, or we're going to file a lawsuit, which is to, use their power of eminent domain. Right. And they were given a couple weeks to do so, and the people on the piece were complaining that not only did they get letters, they got phone calls, people showed up at their door, they had a notary republic driving around the neighborhood in a van. Hey, anybody want to sign? We're right here to notarize it for you. So the neighbors felt, and that was the headline of my story, they felt bullied. And they felt it was an aggressive tactic. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, and what these lawyers who specialize in eminent domain cases said is that Sound Transit wasn't budging. It was $300 in 2015, and it is $300 now. And the lawyers said that they're used to dealing with governmental entities who will say, okay, you didn't like 300, how about this? And they go back and forth and negotiate and try to come up with something more reasonable.
Yeah.
So that is what is the reason, many of the reasons that these 38 homeowners will not sign. They don't like the tactics, and they don't think the value is fair. And so they're like, okay, sue us.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
Which sounds like harassment tactics, but Sound Transit swears.
Has Sound Transit, if you know, has it been predatory and aggressive in its approach?
I don't think predatory and aggressive is the way we approach any of these property acquisitions.
Okay, but that's how the neighbors feel, that it's been predatory.
Yes. The one woman I interviewed said that they called her so many times on her unlisted phone number that she threatened to file a restraining order if they didn't stop.
Jeez. Wow.
I mean, they wanted to sew it up, and I can understand that. Who really wants to go to trial? But here's the thing. We looked into their legal records for their contracts.
Yeah.
They have an outside firm that they signed on in 2015 for just this kind of purpose, just the litigation.
Yeah.
Not for doing things like, oh, we need to acquire property. Sound Transit has their whole department that does that. But when things get messy, when people don't agree, and they file lawsuits, they have this outside entity, Graham Dunn, I think. I hope that's the right lawsuit, or law firm. Anyway, they signed them on in 2015 for $1 million, and we could see through change orders that in the first 2.5 years,
Yeah.
the contract for these litigators has gone up to $11 million.
Well, and
$11 million.
that doesn't surprise me, but I also know that Sound Transit has locked down many, if not most, of the major law firms in the region, so that they say, no, we can't take your case because of conflict of interest, and they have so many law firms on retainer just to prevent people from being able to find counsel against Sound Transit. Let me play one more soundbite from Susanna's King 5 story, where you asked the spokesperson if Sound Transit is actually going to sue these neighbors.
So the people that are being sued are asking, is that really how we want to use our taxpayer dollars? Using all this money in litigation?
And I think when you're saying being sued, I think that puts, again, the spin on it that Sound Transit is being predatory, which is absolutely not the case. When you say being sued, this is the condemnation process.
Are they not suing these homeowners?
It is a lawsuit, yes. That it is a lawsuit.
So they're suing them?
It's a lawsuit.
That's one of the best examples of government doublespeak I've ever heard.
Well, at first I wasn't going to put that part in.
Why?
You know, I don't know. It's not my job. I didn't want it to come off like I was making fun, but I thought, well, it's kind of representative of how they're doing their very best, their utmost best, to try to not look heavy-handed and to be, you know, like it's as transparent and you know, community-minded as possible.
Right.
That's her job. That's that woman's job.
I know it's her job, but we all got to sleep at night too. Well, it was just a fantastic story. I appreciate it because, you know, I've been pounding this drum about Sound Transit for so long, but you know, too often we get bogged down in just the sheer cost of it. But I think it's so relatable to think about all
little stories like this. That's what drew me to this story.
All we want when we go home at the end of the day is a little peace and quiet, and these poor people have to deal with this now.
Well, you know, the story isn't over because the trial is supposed to start this month. So I'll be there. And so now a jury will decide. Maybe they'll think $300 is just fine and dandy, but maybe not. And then Sound Transit will have to pay whatever the jury decides. So, was it worth spending millions of dollars or hundreds of thousands to this outside law firm? That's one of the big questions.
Yeah, we'll watch that jury decision with great interest.
Yeah, I'll be there. So if people want to check out the story and haven't seen it, and haven't got quite enough of you and me talking about it, it's still on king5.com/investigators. So
got it. All right, Susanna, it's been way too long. Thanks for coming back on today.
I know. Thanks for having me back on.
Okay, well, thanks for finally doing a story worthy of my show.
Wasting my time. Get on it.
See you later.
Bye.
Susanna Frame over at King 5. That's quite an agency we're dealing with there. Sound Transit. I do feel bad for all the folks. Okay, next up in the big lead.
The big lead. Your tax dollars at work.
I saw a column in the Seattle Times this weekend about that fence they've built under the Ballard Bridge that has the spikes on top of it. It's designed to keep the homeless out. Because homeless have been camping under our bridges all around the region, building fires. It's dangerous. We've seen tragedy in Atlanta where a freeway came down because of fires started by the homeless under the freeway. And we've got propane tanks under the Magnolia Bridge. It's just been a nightmare around here. And so, for once, the city's doing something about it. They're building fences with these spikes on top to keep people out from under the bridges. Now, as we told you last week, there's a new phrase, buzz phrase for all of this. Mike O'Brien, the super smart and ethical Seattle City Councilman, Mike O'Brien calls this hostile architecture. And there are other examples of hostile architecture. They've been putting in some benches at bus stops, but they have armrests between the seats. The reason? So homeless people can't lay down on the bench. You can't lay down over an armrest. That's hostile architecture. So there's this column in the Seattle Times this weekend, and it says, build homes, not spiky fences for Seattle homeless. And it talked about how the fence is $100,000, and we could spend that money better. I just find it hilarious how local liberals all of a sudden pretend to care about the cost of things. We're spending, what, $167 million on a Seattle streetcar? A trolley? Technology from the 1870s? And the reason for that trolley? To gum up the streets to force people out of their cars. It's just intriguing to me how all the liberals, the progressives, they are upset. We could have spent that $100,000 on the fence better. But $167 million for a trolley whose sole purpose is to gum up our streets so that they can continue their war on cars? Well, that's just fine. The consistency of the left continues to amaze. That is your big lead this hour.
The big lead on Cairo Radio.
We're going to check the news for you, and then our awesome audio clips of the day coming up next. This hour of the Dory Monson Show is brought to you by Farah.com.
As new tax bills arrive,
You are about to get crushed.
voters decide on key levies for school funding and emergency services.
Hundreds of millions of dollars are at stake.
In King County alone, 16 school districts have levies on the ballot.
Trust Cairo Radio and MyNorthwest.com for
of all players are African American. And Greg Popovich had this to say.
Well, I think it's pretty obvious. The league is made up of a lot of black guys. So to honor that and understand it is pretty simplistic. How would you ignore that? But more importantly, we live in a racist country that hasn't figured it out yet. And it's always important to bring attention to it, even if it angers some people. The point is that you have to keep it in front of everybody's nose so they understand it still hasn't been taken care of and we have a lot of work to do.
Okay, see, this is what I don't understand. Is that if you really believe America is a racist country, it's deeply racist, incurably racist, it is indelibly racist, America will always be a racist country, then how does it help to keep it in front of people's faces all the time? In other words, if Americans are so racially focused, and by the way, if that were true, why is it that the NBA would be one of the most popular sports in the world? The NBA, as I understand it, has a lot more popularity and makes a lot more money than, say, the National Hockey League. Now, the National Hockey League does not have a huge representation of African American people, or even African Canadian people. The NBA does. Does that stop, young kids and middle-aged people and elderly people from wearing their Stephen Curry jerseys or honoring LeBron James? How ridiculous. Let's go to Ed in Santa Clarita, California. Ed, you're on the Medved Show.
Thank you for taking my call.
You bet.
But my point that I want to make is that we have to be a little bit honest with the immigration issue. It's not about 1 million immigrants. It's not about 4 million. It is a lot more than that. And it seems to me like in this conversation, they're getting left out. All the other 6 to 7 million immigrants illegally here. As for the border, it's all secure and it has a decrease of 85% of influx of illegals. So why do we need them all?
I agree. I'm sympathetic to your arguments, but I was alarmed today. They have new numbers about the flow across the border increasing again, and I think that's a concern. It's a concern for the administration, because the administration has been very proud of decreasing the flow. Let me ask you this, Ed, because I think you and I probably agree. What do you think should be done? We have about 11.4 million people total, including the Dreamers. So you have another 9 million people who are here who are undocumented. They have been here on average 11 years. Which means that median is 11 years, actually, so that half of the illegals have been here more than 11 years. And the question is, what happens with those people, all of them? And I think the answer here is for this first step, and this has been one of the problems with immigration reform before, is it's been an attempt to wrap everything into one reform bill. If on this reform bill you can take care of the 1.8 million Dreamers, and you can then do something about a better system than chain migration, get rid of the diversity lottery, and yes, do some enhanced security barrier. Then the next stage, you go to E-Verify, which is important, and some path to legal status for people who pay a fine and are willing to do it and eager to do it and have not gotten into trouble or chiseled the welfare system. We'll be right back.
Get ready to laugh out loud with free LOL comedy nights at Muckleshoe Casino in
this boat. Start with something easy. Get a new pillow. If your head and neck are comfortable, chances are your body can relax and you can have a better night's sleep. And the pillow of your dreams exists at MyPillow.com. MyPillow has a unique design. It is unlike anything I've ever slept on. It's super comfy and cozy. And right now, you can save money on a MyPillow. If you go to MyPillow.com, click on the 4-pack special, type in the promo code Cairo, and you'll get 50% off a 4-pack of pillows. You're going to get 2 premium MyPillows and 2 Go Anywhere pillows. Those Go Anywhere pillows can be used when you're traveling or to give you back support at work or when you're driving. So many uses for this pillow outside of the bedroom. So if your current pillows are flat or lumpy or they're stained and you have to cover them up with pillowcases, get new pillows. The MyPillow is 100% machine washable and dryable. It comes with a 10-year warranty and a 60-day money-back guarantee. To get 50% off a 4-pack of pillows, go to MyPillow.com and use the promo code Cairo.
Take a cozy Clipper vacation getaway to Victoria, BC, voted one of the most romantic cities on earth. Enjoy wine tasting, cozy afternoon tea, and much more. Clipper round trip and overnight hotel stay from just $118 at ClipperVacations.com.
Stay connected to Seattle's most important news and conversation wherever you are with the Cairo Radio app. Live from the Cairo Radio News Center.
Rescuers are scrambling to Oregon's tallest peak this afternoon after a climber fell several hundred feet.
He fell about 700 to 1,000 feet back down into what they call the Hog's Back area. His climbing party, there's like 4 or 5 climbers around him right now, giving him CPR.
Scott Lucas with the emergency management says the weather is good on the mountain. They don't expect any problems bringing the climbers down. A Black Hawk helicopter is heading to recover them now. A pilot was killed when his small plane crashed in the Chuckanet Mountain area south of Bellingham. The Whatcom County Sheriff's Office says that plane went down down last night in a tree-covered area 10 miles south of the Bellingham Airport. That pilot was flying the plane from Payne Field for maintenance. In Chicago this afternoon, police say an off-duty officer has died after being shot at a downtown government building.
Commander Bauer was shot multiple times. Unfortunately, Commander Bauer passed away. The offender is in custody. The weapon is recovered. And I just ask citizens of this city to keep the Bauer family in their prayers.
Police believe the officer had witnessed a robbery and was chasing the suspect when he was killed. Another defeat for President Trump's efforts to defeat DACA. A federal judge in New York ruled today to temporarily block the administration from ending the program, which protects immigrants brought to the U.S. illegally as children. State Attorney General Bob Ferguson is praising today's ruling, calling it an exciting day for so-called dreamers. The judge ruled the president's plan to end DACA protections on March 5th is illegal. A federal judge in California issued a similar ruling last month. Kimmy Klein has another check on your Cairo Radio real-time traffic.
And in Tukwila, we had a couple accidents. South on I-5 at South Center crash recently cleared to the right shoulder, and eastbound 518 right before I-5 near South Center, an accident recently cleared to the side too. So it's jammed up around SeaTac and also around the South Center area and all those major freeways because of those. But things are just getting busier for the afternoon commute too around downtown Seattle. South 5 as you head away from the U District, off and on through the Convention Center. 405 southbound struggling mostly around Factoria as you approach Cold Creek Parkway. But our floating bridges look good. North end traffic in good shape around Everett. A little bit of slowing forming in Fife, south on I-5 near the Port of Tacoma Road. And also noticing a bit of crowding around Port Orchard on eastbound 16 right around Bay Street. Cairo Radio real-time traffic. I'm Kimmy Klein.
Our traffic is brought to you by Budget Batteries. Budget Batteries offers the best service and lowest prices on batteries for your car, ATV, motorhome, boats, golf carts, anything that drives and needs a battery. 11 Puget Sound locations, budgetbattery.com.
Your drive home, mainly just on the high cloud side. I think you'll have filtered sunshine in the 40s, and then rain comes in after about 8 to 10, and we see just a few showers tomorrow. I'm Cairo 7, Pinpoint meteorologist Nick Allard.
It is 47 degrees outside the Carter Subaru Studios. I'm Ursula Royteen. This is Cairo Radio News 97.3 FM.
That time of the day where we like to count down our favorite sound bites of the day.
This is Dory Monson's Awesome Audio Clips of the Day.
So we were just talking about what they're doing under the Ballard Bridge to combat homelessness, building a fence. In New York City, the Upper West Side is a very liberal neighborhood. 86% of the people on the Upper West Side voted for Hillary in the last presidential election. So that alone would suggest it's very, very liberal. Well, there's a plan to put a homeless shelter in the Upper West Side neighborhood that was 86% Hillary. Of course, being as progressive as they are, they welcome that idea, don't they?
Number 3.
How did you choose this neighborhood? It makes no sense to me. Frustrated and fearful.
My concern is for the safety of our residents, so the children, the seniors.
People who live in the area surrounding the site of the city's next homeless shelter demanding to know how their lives will change when 150 homeless men move into their neighborhood. The Park Savoy Hotel on West 58th Street between 6th and 7th Avenues is right around the corner from Billionaires Row.
Who amongst you all will assume political responsibility if our neighborhood goes downhill? That's the question.
So the 86% Hillary voter neighborhood, they're worried that their neighborhood's going to go downhill once the homeless move in there, huh? Very progressive of you. At number 2, did you ever watch Sex and the City? You a fan?
I've seen some of that. I didn't get as into it as a lot of people did.
Seems like kind of show you would have been a fan.
I know. It does, but I didn't.
Okay. Because I never watched it. But as you know, I love a good cat fight.
Yes.
Few things I enjoy more. So Kim Cattrall, who's one of the stars of the show, was her brother passed away?
Yes, I believe so.
Her brother passed away. And Sarah Jessica Parker sent out a condolence tweet about that. And apparently, Khmer-Krom hates Sarah Jessica Parker. And so she went on with Piers Morgan and talked about the condolence tweet that had been sent out.
Number 2.
Now, to get any kind of negative press about something that I've been saying for almost a year of no, that I'm demanding or a diva. And this is really where I take to tasks the people from Sex and the City, and specifically Sarah Jessica Parker, is that I think she could have been nicer. I really think she could have been nicer.
You don't hear the Hollywood types call out each other that often.
Right? Sarah Jessica, the Parker one.
The Parker. She seems like, I just watched the Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee, and even though she's not a comedian, she's good friends with Seinfeld, and so it was him and Sarah Jessica in an episode that I just watched a couple days ago. She seems like a pleasant enough person.
I actually think she is. I think maybe Kim is not. But,
At number 1 in the awesome audio, remember a couple of weeks ago when WEEI Radio in Boston, they had an evening host who just blew up the radio station's relationship with Tom Brady, who was on their morning show every Monday, when host Alex Reamer said this about Tom Brady's 10-year-old dog.
It was okay. It's fine. Come on. All right, I thought the first scene was so staged, where Brady's like in the kitchen, his kid's being an annoying little pissant.
Okay. Tom Brady didn't care for that. And when he went on the morning show, he said, yeah, I'm done with you guys for now. Even though he's got a good relationship with the morning show host, he said, I don't want to be on a radio station that has a guy that calls my daughter that name. Well, now the same radio station is in trouble. Christian Fourier is a host on WEEI. Tom Brady's agent is Asian. And Christian Fourier decided to try to do an Asian accent, even though Tom Brady's agent doesn't have an Asian accent. He's just Chinese.
Oh, hello. Hello, Ron. This is Donnie. What's this line, buddy? About to get this contract for Jimmy. Stop that. Please, stop that. Unless McDaniels was named the coach and waiting. It's so much more fun that way.
Okay. Christian Fourier, former Seahawk, former Patriot tight end. So, I guess they're just trying to destroy whatever hopes they had of rebuilding the relationship with Tom Brady. One host goes after his daughter, and then one host does a mocking Asian accent of Brady's agent. So those are our favorite sound bites of the day. Coming up next, we'll tell you what is today's sign. The end is near.
Your home gives you warning signs when its foundation is failing. Cracked or buckling walls, uneven floors, stuck windows and doors are telling you that your foundation is weak and that you need to repair it soon. This is former Attorney General Rob McKenna talking about how the local Northwest business Terra Firma Foundation Systems can help repair your foundation with confidence. Since 2005, Terra Firma has helped thousands of Northwest homeowners with their foundation problems. They've seen it all and are the only BBB accredited foundation repair company I recommend. Terra Firma uses innovative products and provides exceptional service while offering the best repair solutions for your home's foundation needs.